a dwelling or lodging unit or units designed for occupancy by transient tourists and vacationers, together with facilities which constitute a place where people can go, provides food, lodging, beverages, etc. However, you'll also note that there's a fun definition for hotel. A building or group of buildings under one ownership containing 6 or more sleeping rooms occupied or intended or designed to be occupied as more or less temporary abiding space of persons who are lodged with or without meals or compensation, but not including for hospitals, asylums, etc. And finally, there is multi-family dwellings. Multiple, a detached dwelling designed to be occupied by 3 or more families living independently of each other, exclusive of hotels or motels. So, broadly speaking, what that basically means is the definition for resort use that the resorts are obligated to fall under means that it is a dwelling or lodging unit or units designed for occupancy by transient tourists. Now, how do we determine what is classified as designed for occupancy? Well, it doesn't say it needs to exclusively be used by transient tourists. It just says it needs to be designed for use by transient tourists, and we can also prove that it was designed appropriately by showing that there are transient tourists there. So, for example...
Can you slow down?
I totally hear it coming from, I get a little excited. Yes. So, basically, a resort, if it looks like a resort, and it acts like a resort by offering nightly rooms and weekly rooms, and if they say bi-weekly rooms, hey, that's a great rate on a bi-weekly room. And hey, we'll let you stay for a whole month at our resort at a good rate as a guest of our resort. Cool, great. Because it's still a resort. It's still functioning as a resort. Now, there are certain issues that can come up when it starts looking like they stop being a resort. Now, that comes in with, it was mentioned that there was some discussion around potentially Section 8 housing. That is not for resorts. That is for apartments. And so anybody who's worried about a resort engaging in activities such as accepting Section 8 housing vouchers and allowing people to live there, well, that shouldn't be allowed. And the reason that shouldn't be allowed is because the Section 8 Housing Authority explicitly says that this is for residences and apartments. This is not for, which a hotel, a resort, is not a residence or apartment. And so they don't qualify.
So, just so everyone's abundantly clear, what you are saying is if someone is zoned C4, they cannot accept HUD vouchers, low-income housing vouchers.
With the Section 8 housing vouchers, they should not be accepting those, and the Section 8 Housing Authority shouldn't be paying them, or shouldn't be distributing those funds. And if there's an issue with that, then the first thing that should be done is that should be mentioned to that authority that's responsible for that. And if that, for whatever reason, they continue to be paid out, at that point, the city can step in and say, hey, you're engaging in residencing, because this is for residences, and you're not supposed to be there.
So they would be basically committing a federal crime if they accepted those.
I don't know about federal, but they would be in violation of the existing ordinances and statutes, and there's available options to resolve that problem.
All right. Can I read something that you wrote in the email to everybody?
Sure.
All right. Making a permit mandatory would require an ordinance. Further, I think it'd be considered a significant impediment to business to effectively make the city a supervisory landlord above the resorts. As written, describing a system where, in essence, the city determines if a person is permitted to rent a hotel from a hotel. This would have horrible consequences because it opens up the city to a vast array of legal trouble, including issues around fair housing, discrimination, interference with property. It's a bomb of lawsuits waiting to happen, all because the city is seeking tax money.
So, the context of that was that the mayor had sent me a potential resolution that, or what was basically thought as a resolution that would effectively charge the resorts for having persons staying in there for a period of time that would be more than a month, in an effort to raise tax revenue. The reason that I stated that like that is because, again, the way that it was phrased in what the mayor had sent me was that basically the city would have some kind of supervisory opinion over whether or not who gets to stay and how long they get to stay and that kind of thing. And I was like, the city does not need to touch that. That is absolutely a no-go. Don't do that. as far as having some kind of licensing fee to say, hey, you are wanting to offer units for a period of time that is a month or more, and we are going to say that that is something that we want to make a thing that requires a license to do, and issue a license on a room-by-room basis and say, hey, if you want to rent this out for a month, and you want to have this room, this unit that you're allowed to rent out for a month or more, you have to pay this licensing fee in order to do that. So that's within the purview of the city to be able to do, and if that's something the council are interested in having drafted, I can arrange.
So, as of right now,
Yeah.
hotels and resorts, if I'm understanding this correctly, can rent rooms for any length of stay that they please.
Broadly, yes, broadly. Now, when I say broadly, what I mean is, again, the goal is to understand that it has to be engaging in resort-like activity and needs to continue to call itself a resort. So, if you say that your resort, or if you rebrand yourself as an apartment complex and you only offer year-long leases, you are no longer a resort because you are not engaging in resort-like activity that is designed for transient tourists. Now, if some transient tourist shows up and says, wow, I really like it here, I'm going to stay for two weeks. And they stay there for 2 weeks, and they say, wow, I really like it here, I'm going to stay here a whole other month. And they stay there a whole other month. And they say, wow, I really like it here, I'm going to stay here for a third month. Cool. That is them engaging in resort-like activity because it is still designed for transient tourists and it is available for transient tourists. And I have taken away the ability for someone to stay there for any particular length of time. There's no cause for the city specifically to try and enforce something based upon merely length of stay. It's when someone acts like they are living there and the place is exclusively acting like that's what it is. Does that make sense?
Okay, so Mr. King, if I could, please. So what you're saying is that the city is not supposed to be standing up and documenting who can be and who cannot be in a resort,
Oh,
right?
absolutely not. No,
Okay, but what you are saying also is that if people need to stay, for the sake of the owner of the property, if I need to say during the off months, do a long-term stay,
if you,
as long as I pay a permit fee to the city, that's eligible?
well, the permit fee does not exist here. That's not a thing currently.
Okay. I know it's not currently, but
It's not
I'm talking to the mayor.
If the city chose to implement some kind of licensing fee for permitting that sort of thing, that's a separate issue. But as it stands currently, if you are a resort owner and you currently, in your off-season, decide you want to offer a special rate, and you want to say that, hey, I'll offer you a special rate at my resort for a period of time, and that period of time happens to be a month or more. Currently, you're offering a room at a special rate as a resort, but you're not renting this out as an apartment. You're not offering that to reside to people. And so that's why, for example, we say, hey, you can't take Section 8 housing vouchers or anything like that, because that would be offering that as a residence. You're not offering that as a residence. You are giving a special rate for someone who wants to stay at the resort for a month or more.
Okay, well, the reason I'm asking this is I received a very nice email talking about having a long-term stay solution.
Sure.
Because if I'm an owner of a resort and you're telling me that I can't rent out long-term, and I know during the season, this is not the 1950s, okay? You don't shut down a resort on November 1st and open it up again on April, and then rehire everybody. This ain't then. This is now. And people have bills to pay around the year. They have to be able to survive. And for us to sit there and go, I'm sorry, you cannot survive. I'm in the wrong position if that's what I'm telling people. And that's just my point. We need to make sure that these people can stay open and survive as a resort during the wintertime when the places aren't for sale, open, or the people aren't here to go fishing. So we need a solution that is to support a long-term stay initiative so that people can have a place to hold their house. And I'm not saying apartment. I'm saying if they're allowed to have a place to live, then that should be doable because that's up to the landlords, that's up to the managers and the owners.
So again, there is Presently, it is entirely possible for persons to rent out an apartment room for, or not an apartment room, a resort room for a month. And that's the entire idea is, if you're renting out a resort room for a month, cool. And so what I'm trying to indicate is that unless the resorts are engaging in activities like offering these long-term residential rooms, the city doesn't have cause to have any kind of problem under the existing ordinances and statutes. And that is what I'm trying to get at. Is that if they do this properly, and they are following the rules as they exist properly, there's no cause for the city to intervene or have any issue.
Okay, so my next question is, from a legal standpoint, how does us as a community, as a city, delineate when they're not doing it?
So, well, like I said previously, one of the ways is when you look at it and you say, hey, are you offering like year-long apartment leases? Are you treating this like an apartment lease? Are you engaging in activities like taking Section 8 housing vouchers where you are exclusively supposed to be using those for residences? Are you not allowing people to rent out rooms on a nightly basis because all your rooms are full, for example? And with these longer kind of term sort of things, that's when it starts becoming an issue, and the city can look at that and say, hey, they're supposed to be doing that. And there are solutions for that, which include rezoning, and that's under the existing statute.
So just to explain what you're saying, I think I understand what you're saying. So people that might be renting out now for like whatever, construction companies, for 3 or 4 months, as long as those resorts have other people like monthly or nightly or whatever, then we don't need a special use permit. And you're basing this on our existing ordinance.
On the existing ordinances,
yes. We currently are running on the 2001.
Yes. So under the existing ordinances, if they are operating under the resort use definition, as in design, a building that is designed for transient use, then cool. If they happen to have somebody who's staying there longer, that's not necessarily a problem unless they start breaking into the multifamily use category. And multifamily use category, which would be functional, like I was talking about earlier, taking Section 8 housing vouchers, renting out apartments for year-long leases, that kind of thing.
So we don't need to discuss like you can do this percentage, you can do it during this month, during this period. What if you have 6 units and you have 2 of them as resorts and 4 of them as extended stay? That would still be a resort or a hotel in your opinion?
That sounds like a resort to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But it's not 6 months considered very long-term rentals. They're over 6 months.
This is meeting is for the council and the lawyer. Thank you. I want to make something clear too, is what I had sent you is what a resort owner asked me to send to you.
Right, yes, that kind of draft was, the council doesn't need to engage in that kind of activity, so don't worry about that.
So I've got a question before you leave. I get what you're saying. My question is about if it has to look like a resort. Every resort I go to for a short-term stay, I'm paying a bed tax.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so if somebody is going to rent long-term, are they required to pay that bed tax?
So, that is one of those kind of questions that does come up, and because that functions, what you're talking about is a tourist tax, the state law has it.
Exactly.
And so, that is one of those things where I would think that if a place really wanted to make sure that they were looking like a tourist location, that they were serving tourists, they would make sure that they were applying that tourist tax to their occupants. Now, if they are not doing that, that's when that starts to look a little bit more like residing.
Oh, it was a lot more like residing, not a little bit.
And what's
It's a whole lot more.
It does. And the reason for that is because, so let's say that I want to stay somewhere, or let's say that I want to stay here for 2 months because I'm here in the summer and I want to fish and I want to be here and I want to stay in a resort for 2 months. Because I do. And I come here as a tourist and I want to stay here for 2 months. Cool. Now normally, if I were to get a room and pick out a room for 2 months, that's not necessarily 100% transient, but at the same time, I'm staying in a resort for 2 months in the summer, great. I mean, that seems like an appropriate use of that kind of thing. However, under the existing state law, if I were to stay there if they were to rent to me on a more than monthly basis, and I were to stay there on a more than monthly basis, I would not necessarily be subject to the Arkansas State Tourist Tax. But, should I be? Probably. Probably a good idea. If I wanted to stay on the good side of that, might be a good idea. What's your thoughts?
Second. Any other further discussion with planning and zoning?
We're going to table this recommendation.
Well, that's,
I'll make a motion to table the planning and zoning recommendation. Yeah, that's
got a second? Mr. Hunt? Three. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? One.
Yeah, opposed.
Opposed? Move on. Let's see. Marion County sales tax increase to voters. Justice Sandra Lee, please.
Sandra Lee, 129 Golf Course Terrace. I am your JP. I feel like I should not be talking with my back to y'all. I'm here to just remind you that there is a special election starting November 12th here in Bull Shoals through the 17th. It is to do a special sales tax that will go to the law enforcement center. There is handouts on the back there. They're colorful ones. There's 3 pages. The first page has been on Facebook, but the second and third page has not been. I also added another one tonight. I do not add, I'm not taking credit for this. There's frequently asked questions on the back of this. Those are also on the back. If you have any questions about anything, I'm happy to try and answer them the best that I can. If not, I will get the answer for you. If you have any questions about anything in general other than this, that's what I'm here for, is to be your liaison at the county level, so.
I do have one question. I know when I was JP, Marion County has been trying to get in a community center, and they were trying to do that 20, 15 years before I used to go over JP. And it's been going on almost 30 years now. They've been trying to get this community center up, and they even did the 3/4% sales tax and could never get it passed. Is the Sheriff's Department trying to get that 0.5% before the community center?
They have not. So the community center project has been brought to us in April. They laid out the plans for it. They presented everything. They never came through with an ordinance. They're dealing with procedures and management right now, and they have procedures and management have not approved that to come forward. And I'm not on procedures and management committee, so that's what all I know about that one.
Awesome. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say, folks, definitely do your homework, research this, decide, whichever way you're going to vote. There's early voting starts on 12th, right here in this building for residents in our district, and vote, but do your research. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'll get it, I'll retry it.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm here afterwards if you want to talk to me. Thank you.
Next thing is council member comments.
So we have the new owners of the 178 Club who have taken a big leap and put on a new jacket. It sounds like we need to, for some reason, I guess just sending in our paperwork isn't enough for approving the license change. So do you have any questions for us, you guys, or you good? All right.
My name is Cody Jackson. I'm from Bull Shoals forever.
Partnered with Jamie Speaker, Chef Jamie Speaker Director, who's been managing the Sunday Club for 8 or 9 years now, and yeah, we purchased it a few months ago, and we're talking.
All right, well, I guess all we need to do is motion to accept the licensing change. All right, I motion we accept the licensing change.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So be it. Thank you.
All right, last week I talked about us moving forward as a city, so we have it in the meeting minutes so we can get the ball rolling with the pitch deck and chasing down money. At this time, I would like to motion that we move forward with high water infrastructure, including a new high water ramp and a swim area for Browns Beach. We'll start preparing all the options and ideas for the city to review and give their feedback so that we can start moving forward and addressing AGFC, the Corps of Engineers in the state of Arkansas.
Are we gonna pitch multiple locations like we did?
I think as a democracy, we need to offer up different viable locations and look for input. So at this time, I motion we do that.
A second.
Any discussion? Got a motion, got a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any others? Councilman comments?
Yeah, I would like to speak and thank our lawyer, Mr. King. This resort hotel has been a very stressful issue for a lot of us in the city, and it's a very difficult issue. And I really appreciate you stepping up and clarifying it for us. I think some of us thought we knew what we knew, and some of us thought we knew what we didn't know. And so it's always nice for someone to stand up and take the heat. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I want to make a comment. I want to thank Phil Luce for having his head on straight, paying attention, and catching some people who stole the gas pumps from the closed gas station here. And Phil happened to be driving, I don't know, where are we going, Phil? Mountain Home, and noticed some guys that looked kind of familiar stealing some gas pumps from another closed gas station, and he called and took care of business, and they got caught. So thank you, Phil, for paying attention. And, it's kind of amazing that one person paying attention to little things like that can actually pay off. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to, everybody likes to say, oh, city employs this and city employs that and blah, blah, blah. And, I'm proud of our city employees, and not just for things like that, but for everything. So anyway, thank you. And thanks to all the city employees in general.
And maybe if we get a gas station, we'll get free gas.
I think they might have a little more trouble stealing gas pumps that are actually hooked up. But anyway, I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Thank you.
Any other councilman comments? We'll move on to citizens' comments on agenda items only. We have none. We'll go right into old business. Ordinance 2025-12 to be read by title only for the third reading. An ordinance 2025-12, an ordinance titled the Bull Shoals Code dealing with clean premises, violations, and enforcement. We have a motion to accept.
Make a motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So passes. New business, resolution 2025-R22, surplus property for the police department. This is resolution 2025-R22, a resolution authorizing the disposal of specific inventory of the city of Bull Shoals. Whereas the city of Bull Shoals has certain items in inventory which are no longer needed or beneficial to the city of Bull Shoals, and whereas it is the best interest of the city of Bull Shoals to sell or trade the following items. One white 2017 Dodge Charger Hemi all-wheel drive, VIN number 2C3CD XKT8KH592353, and one white 2021 Ford Explorer, VIN number 1F-Rank MARISM, sorry, the police got out of me, KHBH6MGB46075 as surplus property. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Bull Shoals, Arkansas, that Section 1, the City of Bull Shoals Police Department declares that property inventory described above hereto as surplus property which is no longer of use to the City of Bull Shoals. Section 2, the mayor of the City of Bull Shoals shall be and is hereby authorized to sell, dispose, or said items of city inventory which is mentioned above. All said property shall be offered for sale in a commercially reasonable manner, including but not limited to selling said items by advertised sale, by sealed bid, by a bid with a reserve, or by .gov website. Do I have a motion to accept?
All motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Next on the agenda is resolution number 2025-R23, a resolution authorizing the disposal of specific inventory of the City of Bull Shoals, whereas the City of Bull Shoals has certain items in its inventory which are no longer needed or beneficial to the City of Bull Shoals. And whereas it is the best interest of the City of Bull Shoals to sell or trade the following items. One, white 2004 Ford F-350 dump truck. VIN 1FDWX37P545D dated 46107. One white 1999 Chevy 3500 HD old bucket truck dismantled, VIN number 1GBKC34J4XF082282, and one black 1998 Dodge Ram 1500, VIN number 3B7HF13ZWG199678, and one white 2000 Dodge Ram 1500, VIN number 3B7HF1373IG208288, and one yellow 1957 Chevy water truck, number X144-X1433, and one large salt spreader, serial number FSP2-14678 as surplus property. Now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Bull Shoals, Arkansas, that Section 1, the City of Bull Shoals Street Department declares that property inventory described above hereto is surplus property which is no longer of use to the City of Bull Shoals. Section 2, that the mayor of the City of Bull Shoals shall be and is hereby authorized to sell, dispose of said items of city inventory which is mentioned above. All said property shall be offered for sale in a commercially reasonable manner, including but not limited to selling said items by advertised sale, by sealed bid, by bid with a reserve as salvage, or by .gov website. Have a motion to accept. Do I have a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next on the agenda is Resolution 2025-R24, resolution to set a minimum dollar amount for water or sewer on commercial properties that use zero water in a month's billing time. Whereas if a commercial business in the City of Bull Shoals has an active water service and has paid a current deposit fee but has no water usage during a monthly billing cycle, a minimum water sewer bill will be applied. Whereas the commercial business is provided with the water sewer service on any day of the month billing cycle, the city water sewer department is still required to supply the commercial business that is in good standing financially with water and sewer capability. Now therefore be it resolved by the city council of the city of Old Shoals, Arkansas, that a commercial business that has an active water sewer account with the city of Old Shoals water sewer department and has zero water usage during a billing cycle, the commercial business will be charged a minimum billing of $30 during that billing cycle. May I have a motion?
May I ask a quick question?
Please.
Have we made sure that doing this isn't hurting ourselves? As in, we've covered the trash, we've covered everything, we know, I feel like that, and I'm saying this is the right thing to do, but there was a reason it wasn't where it was for some reason. Now, are we sure going to 30 isn't hurting the city?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking anybody.
Well, the argument that I heard in workshop was about lowering any minimum was due to solid waste. Commercial buildings do not get picked up. We have to have our own solid waste contract. So in reality, I personally think $30 is too high for minimum use for commercial buildings because there is no trash pickup. All that's having to happen is maybe some monitoring or, I'm not even sure what $30 is getting a commercial business. Now, we want to bring new businesses in, and the hardest part for a new business is that beginning phase, if they buy a building and they're rehabbing the building, or doing something to the building, or just getting started as a business. The hardest part is the very beginning. And that may be when the water's turned off and they're doing a rehab on a building, and a charge of 50 or 60 bucks, or whatever, we land on $30, that may be a burden to them. It may not seem like it, may not seem like a big deal, but maybe it is, especially if they're not using any water. So,
and I understand what you're saying, but having done rehabs in the past, it seems almost, and I know for a period of time you might not have your water on, but where are you washing your hands? Where are you going to the bathroom? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
At some point, you're going to have to use water.
agreed.
But I also understand most definitely the cost of doing business, and that can be burdensome. So are you saying that 30 is too much, or because it's said,
I personally think if there's zero water usage in a property where there's no trash pickup, I understand the solid waste argument, I get that. We can't call solid waste and say, oh, we're only going to have 1,100 people picked up this week, or oh, we're only going to have this number. That's not how it works, I get that. But if you factor that out, and there is a minimum use, and I understand you can't do a whole lot of work on a building and not have a bathroom or not have a sink or whatever, so I think this is something that isn't going to come into play that much, but when it does come into play, it may be critical. So I personally think it's too high, but,
that's what your recommendation would be?
I would say $15, $20 a month. But,
I have a question.
yeah, absolutely.
Lately, I think it was 4 years back, the city had something.
Yeah, the vacation cutoff. Yeah,
What was the charge on that?
I don't know.
It was $50 disconnect for vacation disconnect or reconnect. So it didn't cost them anything to turn it off for vacation, but it did cost them $50 extra to turn it on.
Okay, so if I'm understanding what you guys are talking about, what would the reason be for the building having the water turned off to start with?
If you're going to do plumbing work and you just want the water off,
That's a temporary deal.
that's That's what I'm saying, is this isn't something that I think is permanent, it is
They're
temporary.
gonna get a $30 a month charge, just
Right.
for a month, it's different. You see what I'm saying, there's a difference between temporary, so the question in my mind is only, I don't know whether $30 a month, it sounds sort of onerous, they're not running any water, they're not paying for trash, so why are they paying us $30 to be it off? It would be, probably the better way to do that would be to just show the disconnect fee, the $50, whether they're off a week or a month, 2 months,
It was my understanding that that's not available anymore.
over the front.
No,
It's not.
they disconnect, or discontinued it on our Nixon.
Yeah.
Years
Yeah,
ago.
we don't do that anymore.
I don't know.
It'd be
You know,
better off.
what the problem here is they got the water turned on. The service is there for them to use. They didn't use any, okay, because they weren't quite ready to redo this building, okay? So next month, they may have a, water going through it. If they don't, then we're still supplying that service to them.
Yeah, I understand. I was confused there from him. I thought that the water was not turned on.
No, the water's been turned on, okay? They just haven't used any water at this time, okay?
And so the reason doesn't really matter, the fact that it's turned on the entire pay.
Right. What should have happened is, they didn't know that they weren't gonna be able to start this project right away, but the water was turned on so that at least they would have it there when they started working on it, okay? That month, they didn't use any water. So what was brought out in the workshop is to come up with some sort of a minimum water bill for commercial businesses. It's just a loss of revenue to the city is what it
Is it
is.
served very often?
This is the first time.
Eric, Collins,
And there's zero usage hours.
For commercial
For
business.
commercial businesses, not very often for commercial, honestly.
Well, so are we taking the amount out of the low bill on $50 if it doesn't occur, but it's very occasional?
No, because, may I? Please. Okay. I don't know if everybody knows this, got some things around. I'm the water clerk, I'm Aaron Harper. So, the whole reason that you have a minimum bill when you do not have any usage, or you have minimum usage, is because there are a lot of things that come out of that. Your maintenance comes out of that. Roger's pay comes out of that. My pay comes out of that. The maintenance on your meter, help me out here. A lot of things come out of that, and it's not just a number we pulled out of a hat and said, hey, we're going to charge this. What that number is combined.
Your overhead.
Yes, thank you.
I understand that. Now, the question in my mind was, because I didn't know, I've never worked on this situation before, I didn't know
Right.
how often or how many of these were occurring. Is it enough that the dollar figure is significant, or is it just one once in a while?
Well, when we're talking about just commercial, zero usage, probably a handful, maybe less than 10.
How often, in a month or a year or whatever? Are the numbers big? So the $50 you're talking about, is that going to amount to a large sum of money over the course of time?
So my opinion is if we're not ready to have our water turned on, then we don't have it turned on. And you're not going to get charged that fee. So if you're trying to avoid a commercial, to turn your water on because that price has changed, for some reason it was $75. And for a commercial, it's never been $75. But it was. it is now $250. And if we're trying to avoid that fee and then have your commercial water turned on, I'm sorry, you know,
And what she's talking about is the $75 deposit fee, for the water meter. It's a deposit fee. The city holds on to that deposit fee. When the people leave, they get that money back. Plus, they get the interest during the year on their anniversary. So whatever the city's getting as far as interest, it gets back to the person that put the deposit in. Now, with the new, going with the new CPI and all that, our deposit should have been for commercial properties $250. That's why, it's a big jump, because it hasn't been done for years. So, that deposit we hold on to for the city, okay, for the person that put the deposit down. When they leave, they get that money back, or we're not out of that money. And during the years that they're here, they get the interest that the city is receiving through their account. So they're not out of that money. It's just there to cover in case they skip town and left us with a water bill, we have something to pay off that water bill. My question is, do we want to go any further with this, or do we want to research this down the road again? Did we answer your question?
It was just information. I guess maybe from what I'm hearing, I'm just behind on this, I forget the word, how you doing it. $50 is not.
Well, this is to, do $30, a minimum bill. If their bill is $50 for not using any usage, the person wanted this to be brought out at $30 instead of paying the $50.
Well, what's the thought?
I don't know.
I think 30 would probably,
I'm just going with what they brought out in the workshop.
well, the option is the $50 to cut off to you, what, $50?
I believe that's what it was.
Sorry,
What was the minimum bill on that commercial property?
$50.10.
Same thing. Yes, I'm of the opinion that in the way you're explaining it, that the $50 would probably be okay. It doesn't sound as if it's going to occur often, and that the people would have a choice of either living with that or turning it off.
Yeah, I would see that, we just turn the water off until they're ready to, turn the water on.
That's what, $250 to turn it on. That's what you just
They would have to pay the deposit, the $250, but they're, like I said, they're gonna get that money back.
So, we're changing from 50 to 30, right? Is that what we're discussing when last year?
That's
Right, that's what that's, okay, I make a motion to accept.
I think they're all second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay.
All right, next stuff on the agenda. Resolution 2025-R25. A resolution creating an incentive for dam site camp host for the city of Shoals, Arkansas. Whereas the city requests a host to stay on the premises of dam site campgrounds from the time it opens for camping until the closing date for the camping season, and offers an incentive to encourage an applicable person to engage in this activity. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Shoals, Arkansas, that the dam site campground host will be selected by the Parks Committee or Mayor with approval of the City Council by voice vote and recorded in the council meeting minutes. 2, the camp host will be responsible for camp host's job description marked as Exhibit A attached to this resolution, and informing the city of any issues that arise. 3, the dam Site camp host will receive payment to be distributed as follows. April 15th to April 30th, current year, $50. May, June, July, August, and September, current year, $100 per month. October 1st, current year to October 18th, current year, $50. If the same host stays for the entire duration of April 15th, current year, until the third Monday in October of the current year, the host will receive an additional $600. The dam site campground host will be able to stay at the campgrounds free of charge for their site while performing the required camp host duties attached to this resolution as Exhibit A. Funds for this incentive will be paid from the City of Bull Shoals General Fund Dam Site Campground line item 6291, and officials responsible for the management and distribution of funds are instructed to provide them in compliance with this resolution. You want me to read what their job duties are? And I have a motion to accept.
I just have a comment.
Yes.
We're basically codifying what we've been doing, like verbally to these hosts, and we're just making it official.
Yes.
So that everybody else.
There was nothing in writing before.
I'm making a motion to accept.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Can I ask a question real quick? Lynn, have we caught up with the camp hosts that have left?
No, it's
No.
all money.
Okay.
It's all
By
money.
doing this, we're gonna send them the 600,
Okay, so we'll,
or, the 500, because we already gave them the extra one.
so that makes us right?
That makes us right.
Okay, thank you.
To make it official, I'd like to have a motion that we do, catch up on the money owed to our previous camp
And
host.
I move it. Okay, go ahead.
I'll make it.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any, nobody opposed. Next one is resolution number 2025-R26, a resolution amending certain line items of the fiscal year 2025 city budget for water sewer department. Whereas the city council of the city of Bull Shoals, Arkansas, pursuant to applicable state and local laws, adopted the fiscal year 2025 city budget on January 30th, 2025, and whereas the city council has determined that it is necessary and in the public interest to amend certain line items of the adopted budget to better reflect current priorities, respond to unforeseen needs, or reallocate resources more efficiently, and whereas Exhibit A attached hereto and incorporated by reference reflects the original budgeted line item values to be amended, and whereas Exhibit B attached hereto and incorporated by reference reflects the revised budgeted line items values as proposed by this resolution. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Bull Shoals, Arkansas, as follows. Section 1, the City Council hereby approves the amendments to the fiscal year 2025 city budget as set forth in Exhibit B, which supersedes the corresponding line items listed in Exhibit A. Section 2, the city treasurer or their designee is hereby authorized and directed to make the necessary entries in the city financial system to implement the budget amendments contained herein and to take all necessary actions to effectuate the intent of this resolution. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect immediately upon its adoption. Do I have a motion to accept?
Motion to accept.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? G. Look for a motion. The Northwest Arkansas Economic Development District is requesting that we continue on funding them $200 a year for their assistance in us getting grants. Look for a motion
I'll make a motion.
to give them $200.
I have a question before we start. Is that where you got the grant money for Dam Jam? Did they help?
That came from, Parks and, I don't want to speak. It came from, Heritage. They're all under the same umbrella. Tourism, Parks, Heritage, I'm just speaking right now. So,
The Northwest Arkansas Economic Development is this district up here that helps with grant money. There's like 8 of them in the state. Tina Coles heads up this one. She's the one that also helped getting a lot of the money that built our sewer plant.
Okay, great.
I second the motion.
Who made the motion?
I make a motion.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next thing. Citizens' comments. Do you have any citizens' comments?
I forgot one thing. It's very important. Dan Jam, First Security, when they were giving their free hot dogs out, they had a little basket for donations to the park. I collected from First Security today $500. When you see them, thank them.
I also like to note that there's an organization that wants corporate sponsorship for next year too. We were approached and they want to give out a little tip. So,
Any other citizens' comments? We'll get on the mayor's comments. Please get your dogs registered with the city hall. A reminder, you're allowed 3 dogs or 3 cats. Unfortunately, we had an incident with the dogs running loose. These dogs were never registered with the city. We have no indication of who they belong to. And one was threatening people and our officers. So unfortunately, that was taken care of the bad way. Get your dogs registered, please. If we had the chance to identify the dog owner, we could have got that dog back to them and alive. Okay. We had talked about Brown Street swim area. We're going to try to work on that. Getting some there. Is there early voting again? Starts the 12th, 8 a.m. right here in these chambers. I did get a letter from the Corps of Engineers on the disc golf. So we are able to put our disc golf on the sites. Donna? Okay. He has approval. He's already got it laid out for disc golf sites at Dan User Park area. The other thing I got in the mail is Jack Tyler, who engineering group that put the pumps in over at lift station number 6 a couple years ago, and that engineering group put the wrong size pumps in. Okay, those pumps failed. It took us a couple of years, and Jack Tyler ended up re-engineered, put the proper size pumps in there, but now they want us, apparently under a previous agreement by a previous administration, to go ahead. They were going to pay half and we would pay half. I don't know about you guys, but they were the engineers that designed what size pumps were needed in there. They underestimated them. Why is the city going to be paying for their mistake? So I don't know what you guys want me to do on this one. Yeah, it's only $34,000, our share.
That's half.
That's half. Jack Tyler, they were their own engineering company. They put the wrong one. They were the engineering group and the installators.
Okay, so we go after them and create a revenue, it's not going to necessarily impact our ability to replace or repair the existing cars.
No, they put the proper pumps in now. Okay, yeah, and they're running, okay, no problem now.
$34,000 is not a significant amount long term as far as if you look at the issues we might or might not have, it's got to be down the road, so one's got to get the pump from.
Well, no, we don't have to get the pumps from them,
Okay, so we hear you.
you know. I do want to, add that our water tower project will be starting this mid-November. They're going to be starting on Browns Beach first. So we're going to get that one taken care of starting in November here. They're scheduled to be here mid-November. I talked with Representative Rick Crawford's office today, and they advised me that once the government gets back working again, our federal government, they'll be coming up with solutions for our sinkholes down on River Cliff. Hopefully we'll have some good news on that. Crawford's office does understand that the city doesn't have money to repair core property, even though they want us to. So they're going to be working on a solution, be it through Game and Fish, any other agencies that are out there.
Maybe you didn't hold a KY3 on your side that lady that's exposing them a little bit.
The other issue, and I don't know if you guys got this on your tablet, but apparently we're having problems with the tablet, so we're going to go back to paper. We have planning and zoning said that once we took over the ALS property, there were two signs. One was on the building, okay, the white building over there, and another one was on a billboard. The one that was on the white building, to get us in compliance of our own sign code, you can't have off-site signs on buildings. Okay, so planning and zoning told me that we were in violation. We took it down. As we took it down, they were on a 1x4 frame, fabric material. It's been up there for so many years. It was so weathered and brittle, it just kind of crumbled up into nothing. Even the 1x4s were destroyed. It belonged to a resort here. She's claiming that she paid for 2 signs here in town and that she wanted to be paid back for that sign that we destroyed. She paid for 2 signs. I went around town, okay, she's got 5, 6 signs out there. 2 signs are on her resort, okay. She's got 4 other signs in town. One's at the Triangle. We are not charging for those signs at the Triangle. If we charge for those signs, then we have to pay the taxes on that property, okay? So we're not charging for those signs. If someone a business wants to put up a sign there, they will buy their own sign, we'll put it up for them, okay? But she's making a big deal that we destroyed her sign and she wants to have payback. Well, apparently, by me going around, driving around, I found numerous other signs that she hasn't paid for. I just want to make that known.
Motion to adjourn?
Second. All those in favor? Any
It does not deny that acceptance or anything. She did it because that's the same way they when they had to call back in when they did because she said I resigned, he resigned, and so they had reinstated
opposed?